Hello and welcome to day 29. It's my second favorite number after 21. All right, so we're going to go over day 28's exit ticket. So here we go. We have 9 8/100 plus 3 62/100. When we line them up in the right place values with the decimals matching, we end up getting 12 70/100. You could also call this 12 7/10. If you got 12 60/100, it's because you forgot to carry over that one there. All right, number 2 on the exit ticket was 1 56/100 plus 1 65/100. When you line them up in the correct place values, you should have received 3 20/100. If you didn't receive 3 20/100, you have to ask yourself, did I carry over the 10? There's a wrong answer here, I just realized. That should be 21. Aha. So, carried over the 11, 10 from the 11. Okay. You get 11, technically is what it is, or 1/10, plus 5 plus 6 equals 12. You carried that over, which was technically 1 2/10. You added those up in the ones place, and you got 3 21/100. 3 21/100. Let's go ahead with number 3 here. On your exit ticket, you have 5 36/100 plus 1 44/100. You added them up in the hundreds place. You had to carry over. You added them up in the tenths place. You had to carry over. And now you didn't have to carry over. My fault. Worded that incorrectly. You had to, there was nothing to carry over, so you just added up the ones place to get a 6 in the ones place. So the answer is 6 80/100. So these were your 3 answers when adding up. And once again, if you didn't get 6 80/100, it might be because you had forgotten to carry over that 1, which was a 10 from the hundreds place. So let's move on to subtraction today. Ooh. Yeah, adding's fun, but when we get to the inverse of subtraction, that's where we tend to make some borrowing mistakes. Let's go ahead and do that now. So here I am in problem number 1, subtracting 2 6/10 minus 72/100. So the first thing I really want to make sure I do, and not make a mistake in doing, is lining everything up in the right place values. I'm going to make myself a little place value chart. I'm going to call this the hundredths place, the tenths place, the ones place, which means my decimals, that one and that one, will be right here and here. Then I'm going to actually place the numbers on the chart. 2 6/10 and 72/100. Now, we run into an issue here. How can I take 2 away from nothing? Right? If you have $0, but you need to give me 2, is that possible? No, unless you borrow from someone. So then you go over the 10th place and you borrow from the 10th place. I'm going to make that 6 of 5, and now I'm going to make and have 10 hundredths there. Now I can subtract. Now you can give me 2. I can act like that's 2 pennies right there, right? So if this was 6 dimes, you'd have to break that 6 dimes up to being 5 dimes and 10 pennies. And now you can give me 2 pennies. Ah, man, can I take 7 away from 5? No. So you need to go ahead and you need to break this 2 up. Let's pretend that 2 is $2. So we're going to break that up and make it a 1. And we're going to give 10 dimes to the tenths column. So now I technically have 15 dimes there, is what I have. 15 minus 7 will give me 8. 8 dimes. Don't forget my decimal. 1 minus 0 gives me 1, giving me an overall answer of 1 88/100ths. If this was money, this would be $1.88. So, some misconceptions. The whole borrowing, or sometimes I call it stealing, because if you're borrowing, you're usually giving it back, right? I didn't give anything back to the tens place, and I definitely didn't give anything back to the ones place after I borrowed it or regrouped it. All right? So, that's one of the most common mistakes here. Okay, after making sure you line everything up in the correct place values they belong in. Let's go ahead and do number 2. So number 2, I have 40 7/10 minus 38/100ths. Go ahead, line them up correctly. I'm going to wait a second and let you line them up first. And then I'll line it up next to see if you did it correct. Or you can see if I did it correct. Okay, so now that you hopefully have taken the time to line them up, let's see if you lined it up correctly. Ooh. Oh man, what am I going to do here? How am I going to do that? I have to make another place value. Hope you caught yourself there. So this is my hundredths. We'll call it H for hundredths. And this is my tenths, T for tenths. And then my ones, and this is my tens. And there's a 0 in the ones right there. So now, just like before, when we looked over at this other first problem, I had nothing there. So what did I have to do so I could take 2 away? Think about that as you solve the rest of this problem. So hit the pause button now to solve the problem on your own. Okay, so you should have gotten the answer of 40 32/100ths. So after I borrowed from the tenths place, I had 6 left. Now I have 10 hundredths. And now I can take away 8 of them to give me 2. Now that I have 6 tenths there, I take 3 away, I end up with 3 tenths. And then 0 minus 0 equals 0. 4 minus nothing is 4, giving you 40 32/100ths. Let's move on to number 3. Second one you're doing on your own. Number 3. Go ahead, line it up, and subtract. Hit the pause button now. Okay, so I had nothing in this hundredths place. So I could do 6 minus nothing gives you 6 hundredths. But I had 0 here in the tenths place, so I had to borrow from the ones column. Okay, I had to take 10 dimes, break $1 up into 10 dimes. Now that I have 10 dimes, I only have $4 left over, right, instead of 5, because $4 and 10 dimes makes 5. So technically together, the 4 and the 10 work together to make 5. But I had to steal or borrow from the ones, so I could actually subtract this 9. Is 9 dimes to get 1 left over. 4 minus this 1 gave me 3. 3 16/100ths being the answer. Let's move on to number 4 now. 7 8/10 minus 4 8/100ths. Make sure you line everything up in the correct place values. Hit the pause button now to solve this problem. So with this, you should have gotten the answer of 3 and 72 hundredths. If you didn't, are you trying to take 8 away from nothing? Is question 1 you should ask yourself. And if you are, did you actually steal or borrow from this 8 and leave 7 left over? So 2 things you want to think about here. Are you regrouping and borrowing correctly? If not, take a good look as to how we're doing it here. And if you're still confused after we get through these problems, please don't hesitate to email me. I'd love to walk you through some of these problems one-on-one. So let's move on to number 5. Okay, for number 5, it is going to be 4 and 33 hundredths minus 43 hundredths. Hit the pause button now to solve. Okay, so as you solve this problem, you should have gotten 0 in the hundredths place, 9 in the tenths place, because you can't take 4 from 3, so I had to borrow from the ones column. And then you get 13 minus 4 gives you 9, and then 3 minus 0 gives you 3. Last but not least, let's do number 6. And then you're going to have 3 exit ticket questions to do. 17 minus 3/10. 17 and 3/10, not minus 3/10. 17 and 3/10 minus 3 and 4/10. Go ahead to solve that now. Hit that pause button. Okay, so here we are with number 6's answer is 13 and 9/10. So another possible mistake that could be happening is you're forgetting to bring down your decimal. So really be cautious about that. All right, that could even be the first thing you try to do before you even subtract anything. Just bring down that decimal here, and then go ahead if that is something you are actually typically forgetting, right? If you're doing something over and over incorrectly, the same thing, try correcting it by correctly doing it first before you do anything else. So if you continue to forget the decimal, do that first on the next problem that you're going to do. So if you're not feeling quite ready yet to do the exit ticket, right, because I want you to feel confident before you do it, feel free to ask for some assistance at home or email me, and I can work through, maybe even call you and work through some problems. All right? So at this time, if you are ready, go ahead and head to the exit ticket now. Don't forget, I hope you have all these answers so you can also log them on the classwork and exit ticket. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.